Our lesson today is Chapter 1, Section 3. And our first example is to solve 2/3 x minus 7 equals 5 for x. That means we want to get x alone on one side of the equal sign. We want to isolate x. So we're going to start by getting our x term alone. We're going to move 7 to the other side of the equal sign. We're going to add 7 to both sides of this equation. So when we add negative 7 to positive 7 on the left, we get 0. And 0 plus 2/3 x is going to leave 2/3 x. So we've got our variable term alone. On the right-hand side, add like terms. 5 plus 7 is 12. Okay, now the last step is to undo the multiplication. So we would divide to undo the multiplication, but we don't divide by a fraction. We multiply by its reciprocal instead. So we're going to multiply both sides of this equation by 3/2. Okay, when we simplify on the left, when we multiply reciprocals, we get 1. So we get 1x on the left, and that's what we're looking for. On the right, we're multiplying fractions, so we can cancel that factor of 2 top and bottom. 2 goes into 12 6 times and into itself once. So we're left with 6 times 3, or 18 on the top, and 1 times 1 on the bottom, which is a denominator of 1, and we don't have to show that denominator of 1. Now we can always check our solution, x equals 18. We can substitute 18 into that original equation for x, simplify, and see if we get a true statement. So we want to simplify on the left and see if that equals 5, which is on the right. So we'll multiply first, canceling this factor of 3 top and bottom. 3 goes into 18 6 times and into itself once. So we get 2 times 6, or 12. Again, we have a denominator of 1 that we don't have to show. And 12 minus 7 does equal 5. So 5 equals 5. The left-hand side equals the right-hand side. That's a true statement. So we know that our solution is x equals 18. It's a good solution. Second example, your total cost for a book including 6% sales tax is $23.32. What was the price of the book before the sales tax was added? Write an equation and solve it to answer the question. Okay, in our equation, our variable x is going to be that price of the book that we're looking for. Now we're going to add on 6% sales tax. So to figure 6% sales tax, I'm going to multiply 0.06 times x, the cost of the book. And that total cost then is $23.32. So we've got the cost of the book plus the sales tax. And notice that I didn't put in 6%. I put 6% in decimal form in my equation. 6% of x is going to be the tax added on to the cost of the book to give us a total cost of $23.32. So solving for x, I've got like terms on the left. I'm going to add those like terms together. 1x plus 0.06x is a total of 1.06x. And then the last step in solving for x is to undo the multiplication, divide both sides by whatever is multiplied to our variable, 1.06. Okay, again, anything over itself is 1, so we end up with 1x. And if you divide 23.32 by 1.06, you're going to get 22. So once we solve our equation for x, we're going to go back and answer the question, what was the price of the book before the sales tax was added? The price of the book was $22. In our third example, we're solving another equation. This time we're solving for y. And if you look at the left-hand side, we have no like terms. If we look at the right-hand side, there are no like terms. We need our y terms on one side of the equation and our constant terms on the other. So I might choose to move the 8y to the other side to keep our y term, variable term, positive. 8y and negative 8y are 0, so we're left with negative 16. Don't lose that negative sign. And over here, like terms, 13y take away 8y is 5y plus 9. Okay, our variable terms went to the right, so our constant terms are going to go to the left. We're going to subtract 9 from both sides. Simplifying, we have a total of negatives on the left, negative 16 and negative 9, total negative 25. And on the right hand side, 9 and negative 9 are 0, so we're left with 5y. Okay, now the last step is to undo the multiplication. Divide both sides by 5 so that we have 1y on the right. Negative 25 divided by 5 is negative 5 on the left. Okay, or since it's easier to read the variable first and the solution second, we could turn this around. Y equals negative 5 is our solution. Remember too that you could check that solution in the original equation. Okay, example 4, solving another equation. Solve for x. Look what's in this equation, parentheses. Okay, we're going to have to distribute to get rid of parentheses first. So we're going to multiply 4 to both terms inside parentheses on the left-hand side. We're going to multiply negative 3 to both terms inside parentheses on the right-hand side. So distributing, 4 times 2x is 8x. 4 times negative 9, negative 36. And we also have plus 5x on the left. Okay, distributing on the right, negative 3 times 10 is negative 30. And negative 3 times negative x, that's a negative times a negative, so it's a positive 3x. On the left-hand side, we have like terms. Let's add our x terms together. 8x plus 5x is 13x altogether. Minus 36 equals negative 30 plus 3x. Okay, now again we want our x terms on one side and our numbers on the other. So this time I'm going to choose to move my variable terms to the left, subtract 3x from both sides. 13x take away 3x is 10x. So I have 10x minus 36 on the left. On the right I have negative 30. Okay, now I need to move that 36 to the right-hand side, so I'm going to add 36 to both sides of this equation. Negative 36 and positive 36 is 0. We're left with 10x. And on the right, we have more positives than negatives, so negative 30 plus 36 is 6. Undo the multiplication last, so we're going to divide both sides by 10. So 1x is equal to 6/10. Now we want to simplify that fraction. We want to get rid of any factors alike top and bottom. And we know that that factor that we have top and bottom is 2. So if I factor 6 into 2 times 3 and 10 into 2 times 5, I know that this is a form of 1. 2 over itself is 1. So 1 times 3/5 is just 3/5. And again, don't forget, you can check that solution to make sure it's a good solution. Okay, last example today. It takes you 45 minutes to mow your lawn, and it takes your brother 30 minutes to mow the lawn. How long does it take you to mow the lawn if you have 2 mowers and work together? Write an equation and solve it. Well, this problem is a lot like a distance equals rate times time problem. Only in this problem, we're talking about work instead of distance. Work also equals rate times time. So I'd use that formula to write my equation. I know that your rate for mowing the lawn is 1 lawn in 45 minutes, and your brother's rate is 1 ln in 30 minutes. He's a little faster than you. Okay, now to write the equation, the amount of work we're doing is 1 ln. It's equal to rate times time. So your rate is 1/45 and your time is t. That's what we're looking for. But your brother's also mowing and his rate is 1/30 and his time is also t. You're taking the same amount of time to mow this lawn. So here's our equation, work equals rate times time, only there's 2 of you working. We want to solve for t. I do have like terms on the right, but because I have those fractions, I'd choose to clear this equation of denominators first, and I'd use the least common multiple of those denominators, which is 90. 45 and 30 both go into 90. I'm going to multiply both sides of this equation by 90 in order to get rid of those denominators. I'll have to distribute on the right because there's 2 terms that I have to multiply 90 to. So 90 times 1 on the left is 90. Over here, when I multiply 90 times 1/45 t, 45 goes into 90 twice, so I'm going to be left with 2t. Okay, then 90 times 1/30 t, 30 goes into 90 3 times, so I'm left with 3t in that product. Okay, now look how nice this equation is without denominators. I can add my like terms on the right. 2t and 3t is 5t altogether. The last step is to undo the multiplication, divide. Okay, so t is equal to 5 goes into 90 18 times. So it says, how long does it take you to mow the lawn if you have 2 mowers and you're working together? So our answer would be 18 minutes. Okay, I want you to include in your notes of this video guided practice problems 2 through 10, even problems only, found on pages 19 and 21 of your textbook.